If you find that you are repeatedly ending up in the same unhealthy, harmful relational dynamics, at some point we need to sit back and have a look and ask ourselves the question, what role are we playing in our own suffering? Now, I just need to preface this with this is not victim blaming, not at all. People very, very rarely, if ever, consciously seek out and choose relationships that will cause them emotional or even physical harm. But here's the caveat. For many adults with a history of trauma, CPTSD, insecure attachment styles, these relational blueprints were set in childhood. So, what this means is as children, we learn what love and connection looks like from our parents and caregivers. So, even if that love was inconsistent, emotionally or physically unsafe, and even abusive, that is what we learn love is. So, as adults, what will often happen is your nervous system will confuse familiar with safe. So that is why you might find yourself continually being drawn to the same types of people over and over again who are reopening these historical traumatic wounds that you have. Not because that you are consciously seeking pain, but it is what your nervous system is recognizing that is what love and connection is. So whilst it might seem very confronting at first, it is actually immensely powerful and key to your healing journey to be able to sit back and recognize what role you are playing in these dynamics and how you may subconsciously be seeking these out or being attracted to these types of people. Why it gives you immense control is because if there are things that you are able to work with a therapist or counselor or relationship coach and identify what you may be drawn to and what you may need to work on, that gives you control to change that. And that is how you can start taking steps towards more secure relationships because you start to be able to identify unhealthy behavioral traits, healthy behavioral traits. And it can take a little bit of time, but then you can gradually work towards seeking out these more secure relational dynamics. So here's some reflections that might help you be able to recognize if these patterns are playing out in your experience. Firstly, look at your past relationships. Are the same types of relationships playing out time and time again? Number two, pay attention to the initial attraction, the spark. Are you really drawn to people that feel really magnetic? There's a lot of chemistry, and that spark comes into play really early on in the piece. And then you may find that people who are quite secure seem quite boring and you don't feel any chemistry or spark. What's often playing out is that pull you feel towards these unhealthy individuals is often that sense of familiarity. Once you become aware of that, you begin to recognize that that might actually be a little bit of an amber or a red flag. The third bit of reflection that you can do is a little bit of a self-check talk. Do you find that you are consciously minimizing and explaining away red flags when they present? Oh, it's not that bad. Oh, when they sort out the situation going on with their ex, then we'll be good. I have also fallen for that. So the fourth piece of reflection is ask yourself, whose love does this feel like? So does this relationship remind you, even subtly, of how a parent or caregiver made you feel when you were growing up? Did you feel like you always had to perform and earn love? Did you have to silence yourself to keep your mother or father happy or avoid them getting angry at something? And the fifth reflection piece is pay attention to your body. How does it feel when you are around this person or interacting with this person? Do you feel calm and steady and grounded around this person? Or do you feel a mix of like anxiety, adrenaline, and you're craving this person? That's the makeup of a little bit of a trauma bond potentially playing out. So often what can happen, that sense of attraction, that spark that you feel, can actually be activation of the survival part of your nervous system. But if that's what you were used to when you were growing up, that is why it feels familiar, and that is what we can often confuse for love before we start our healing journey. So recognizing these patterns is not about shame, it is about awareness. Because once you become aware of these cycles that play out in your relational dynamics, that is how you are actually empowered to be able to break that cycle.